Okay. Talk to you then. Bye.
Okay. It's less important how the intuition comes through than what is said or the wisdom that is given. So what should you do when you first hear or feel it? Our answer is you should stop what you're doing and ask yourself, what was that feeling I just had or guidance I received, coming from my spirit guides or my higher self? Or was it something I was already thinking about doing? Am I justifying the things I want to hear as true guidance, pressured by my ego, looking for approval about a decision I already made? How can I be sure it didn't come from me? We will say that the first thing you must do with this guidance is to write it in your journal. Do this the moment it comes through. Keep a journal or notes on your smartphone, something you have with you all the time. Once you record the message in writing or digitally, you will now have brought it into this world. Now that you have written the guidance in your journal, as you look at it, ask yourself, how did it come through? Was it a voice I heard, a sign that I read, a message from a stranger or co-worker, or was it something that popped into my head when waking up from a dream? Next, it's important to ask yourself, how did the message make you feel? Did it make you feel happy or uneasy, or maybe even a little angry or anxious because of the message? We always bring you messages that you need to hear when you need to hear them. Not when you think you need to hear them, but when we think you need to hear them. Many times the message will convey that we convey are not a respecter of your convenience or situation, as the guidance has to do with the future. When would you want to know about the guidance that would protect you from something detrimental in the future? Certainly not after it happens. You want to know as soon as possible, even if you think it's an inconvenient time. Once you have written down the message, the guidance, ask yourself what that hidden meaning is behind the message. Is it a prophecy for my future or a warning for my present or future? Answering these questions about the details surrounding the guidance is critical to the meaning of the message. Once you start writing down the guidance you are getting, over time, you will begin to connect the dots in your life. If you are receiving the same guidance over and over again, it's because you are not paying attention to something that is critical for your life. This is procrastination. We don't enjoy watching you suffer. We always provide guidance that gives you enough runway to implement it to avoid suffering and knocking you off your path. Summary: your intuition tells you something every day, all day long. If you have been listening to your intuition, what are you doing with it? Do you think you can postpone fate if you just ignore it? How it works. If your intuition is foggy, here's how to correct that. First, identify it. Your foggy intuition reflects your life. Feelings like fear, worry, confusion, and anything else that makes you feel disconnected. Second, correct it. Using your journal in part 3, write down these foggy feelings you're having. Do this for 15 minutes a day. Ask your guides to help you with one issue at a time. Write down what you asked and what you received from your guidance. Many times they won't happen at the same moment. Make it a point to write in your journal every day for 15 minutes about what you need to know or overcome. Write like you're writing to your guides. At the end of just 1 month, you will clearly see in your journal what has been keeping you in the fog. This is a huge step in the right direction. Keep up the writing, and soon your intuition will be working perfectly.
All right.
Okay, you guys, and that's today's insight. Now, you guys were going to use your journal and keep track of what was going on in your life this week, about what intuition has told you. Did any of you write that down? Did any of you do that?
Let me get everybody's microphone on.
Okay, right.
There's David. There is Nicole. Hi, Nicole.
Hi, Nicole.
Hi, Russ.
Hi, you guys. Hi, Russ.
And Bridget.
David's new, right?
David. Hi.
Hi.
Welcome.
Hi, David. Nice to have you.
Both.
What did you say?
Turn your camera down just a little bit. We can't see you. There we
Just
go.
a tiny bit. There you go.
Yeah.
Nice to meet you both.
Nice to meet you too.
What a good-looking group of people we have here
That's
tonight.
right. And there's Miss Bridget
Hi, Bridget.
in her new place.
There she is.
So anyway, intuition, and what has your intuition told you today? Just to get this thing going, all right? I'm going to share with you guys. Today, I got up, got working. I have my desk filled with whatever I need to work on, all ready to go. Had it all figured out from last night, right? All ready. And I was working I got my email, answered my fan mail, and then just about the time I'm done with that, I get hit with this. I've got to go back to the manuscript. The fourth book, My Guided Journey, that's going to be published in the next month, is with the formatter right now. And I mean, I'm done with it. It's all done, right? Nope. The guides came through and just started sending me information about, we want this in here, we want that there, we want you to reorganize this over here. And so the formatter is going to have, but what can I tell her? Hey, this is life. This is how it goes, And so I got all this information. It took me about, I'm going to say 3 hours to really, really connect with it, write it out, and then drop it in, and then highlight it and make sure it's all, I didn't miss anything, So what's the difference between what I did and what you guys need to do? The difference is when I get the guidance in the middle of my life, while I'm busy doing what I planned, okay, I know to stop it. I know I've got to listen. This is more important than what I had planned. So I pull back. You know how I tell you guys to take that breath? And let go of what I think I should be doing. And just open up to what I need to be listening to. What you guys need to do, you need to write down what that is before you take the action like I did. I stepped right into it. I sat there for a minute going, okay, I'm recalibrating here. I'm getting myself aligned with this. And then it just comes through and I know exactly what to do. Because I've done this my whole life, right? Okay, you guys need to, in the beginning, you need to write it in here so that you don't miss it the moment it comes through. You've got to write it down, okay? Even if you shorthand it so that you can see the key words that trigger your memory about what the whole message was, right? Part 3, write it down. And then act on it. Or study it, because you've got to walk before you run, So, but the most important thing is don't resist the information. Just because you have something else in mind, I was going to go shopping today, or whatever, stop. Just like they said in this session, stop. And let yourself connect and align with this guidance. Write it in here first so you don't lose it, because you're kind of new at that, right? Until you get, smooth with this, where your connection to your guides is constant. And it is. It's always constant. It's that we're not constant, and that's how we miss it. So Ray, what guidance this is real interesting. I asked Ray this today, and I was surprised to hear what he told me. He does the hunting and gathering. Ray,
I'm the hunter and gatherer.
He does. He goes shopping. He gets the mail. He does all this kind of stuff. And I work right here in our office. Okay. So go ahead, Ray.
Well, I got the guidance over the last week, maybe 10 days, that when I go out anywhere, that I'm supposed to be real alert about my surroundings, especially when I'm in parking lots. And that was the guidance.
How about that?
So.
And we live in a safe neighborhood. You know what is safe? We live in a good neighborhood, and still, you know, stuff happens, right, you guys? So so what did you do to shore up your how are you acting differently? What action are you taking?
Well, one thing I do is I just don't take any parking place anymore. You know, we have a grocery store right on the corner here, about 3 blocks away, a big one, a Big Fry's, and they're always busy, but I'll normally just pull in and just find the first parking place. But I don't do that anymore. I drive around until I get a parking place that's close to the entrance.
See that?
So if I'm coming out, bringing a lot of groceries out, I don't want to be distracted. Up near the lights, not way in the back 40.
Right.
So I do that. I'm just cognizant of who's pulling in, who's pulling out. Is there anybody sitting in their cars, you know, just sitting there, you know, acting weird? Why are they doing it? You know.
So guidance only shows up because it needs you to pay attention. It needs you to be more alert. It needs you to take an action, all right? My action was, well, I sit here and I work all day, right? Well, they're going to put me to work. Right? Linda, you have to do this, okay? It's not like that.
Well, that was an example of, like you said, they're not a respecter of your convenience.
They're not.
You had all this work planned that you were going to do. I'm doing this and this and this and this today. And they said, no, none of that. You're going to do this.
I know. And it turned out to be really time sensitive because it's, you know, this book gets formatted, it goes to Amazon, it gets published, and there you have it. You know, if I'm missing something or that needs a little refinement, then they gave it to me. You know, this is what we want. You missed it here. You got to get this over here and that, you know, and.
So you know how I like quotes.
I know.
I love quotes. I've always loved quotes. So I found a good one about writing things down. You know, like you always say, Linda's always telling you to write it down in your journal,
right, so
you don't forget it, so you don't come back later and write it down some other way because you can't remember it. And this quote was good. It said, memory is a complicated thing. It's a relative to the truth, but not its twin. So that means that you can kind of remember how things were if you don't write them down. Maybe you go back and say, oh, yeah, I kind of remember how it was, but you can never remember how it was exactly.
If you don't write it down
right away. If you don't write it down
right away. Right.
You could. It's not a twin. Your memory is not a twin of what actually happened. It's a relative of what happened.
That's very interesting, Ray.
Yep.
That is interesting. That's
how people invent the good old days syndrome.
Yeah. We start to make it up. We start embellishing.
Linda?
Yeah.
Yep.
This is Russ.
Hi, Russ. We see you.
I had a hit today from my guides that startled me and made me laugh at the same time. And, I was in this coffee shop and I went laughing out loud. Anyway, a few days ago, I purchased a painting from a lady, and she came and helped me hang it, and we had a delightful afternoon talking, and she's sort of alone as I am alone, and so I'm always thinking, you know, is this the one, or would she do, or anything like that? And in the middle of the coffee shop, I'm writing in my journal, and all of a sudden I get this hit, no.
Whoa.
Oh.
It just shuddered all over, and I saw her image, the painter lady's image, and there was just this no. That was my message.
Wow. Wow. Well, how did you feel when that message came through? This is the first thing you need to ask yourself, you guys, is how it made you feel, all right?
I felt delighted.
Oh,
I was very pleased.
That someone's looking out for you.
And with the hit and knowing where it came from.
Right, exactly.
I didn't just make it up.
That's exactly right, Russ. That's right.
Yeah.
So you're being looked out for. You see, you're never alone, you guys. But the first thing you want to listen to is how it made you feel. Like when this happened today with the book, with the manuscript for the next book,
Mm-hmm.
I was, oh man, and I'm supposed to get all this other work done. And I went, oh, Linda, you can cut that stuff out right now. I mean, it was immediate resistance because
Mm-hmm.
I've done this my whole life and I still do that, right? That resistance thing.
Right.
I go into it and I kind of act like a brat, that kind of thing, right? And
You act like a brat sometimes? I doubt that. I've never seen that.
I love this guy. But I could feel it, and then I was like, okay, I need to get right with this because I don't want this book coming out, missing it. I do not want that, right?
Yeah.
And it was like that was more important than anything else, and I just stopped that kind of nonsense. So my first feeling was resistance, and then it was absolutely being compliant with it. And what was your feeling when you felt like that, got that hit about the parking lot, Ray?
Well, just, that there's people there that don't have good intentions for somebody they're waiting for some little old lady to come out with her groceries and offer to help her put them in the car and then steal her purse or something.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. So it made you feel, how did you feel though, getting the guidance?
Well, I felt great getting the guidance.
Right, exactly.
Yeah.
That's right.
You just don't want to drive into something blind and say, well, here I am, now what? Do I just run for the door or do I sit in my car and wait or what?
Right. So that's you always ask yourself when you get the guidance how it made you feel, and write that in your journal too, how it made you feel.
Guess what?
What?
I have a quote about feeling.
This guy's amazing.
You're right. You're just reading my mind.
He does all these.
And I'm writing them down, Ray, just so you know.
Okay. I'll let you use this one now.
You know what, Nicole? He never tells me that he does this. Okay?
But I do my homework.
He never does this. But he does his homework on the site. Go ahead, Russ. What were you going to say? Wait. Russ is going to
No,
say.
not right now.
Okay, so this quote is about seeing versus feelings, okay? Seeing everything in the world, you can't believe what you see because everything is edited, overproduced, or photoshopped.
I've heard that one too.
That's a good one. But when you feel it, it's different. I mean, you can't avoid how it feels.
It's the truth.
Yeah.
See, the feelings is your truth center. The knowing is where you came from. You don't know why you know some things that you know, but you do. You can't explain it to anybody. You don't even try. But you know what you know. You come in with that knowingness. It's built-in GPS. And the feeling never lies. It's your truth center right here.
That's the deja vu thing. That's how the deja vu thing happens. You remember it.
Right. That comes from here. But that feeling, you guys have to stop just a moment you had the hit. Now, how does it feel to me? How does it feel? That is really important to write down while it's fresh.
Right.
So you don't start making it up, because we go right into make-believe, you guys. We go into it so quickly. It's amazing how we've been programmed to do that,
Yeah. I have one thing to say is that one thing that really resonated with me this week about intuition is that I identify this in myself is that, sometimes you have a tendency, I know for me, initially I have a tendency to doubt myself, doubt whether or not, but that I had to take myself away from that and just absorb the message, I guess, and then see what that, what I mean, absorb it, take the message for what it is.
Right.
Right or wrong, but, just listening to that and understanding that whether, it's right, wrong, that I'm getting this and taking it from there.
So the doubt can't take you over, because what happens when the doubt kicks in, Nicole, the next thing, if you let doubt get away with itself, it turns into fear, and then you really have a problem. All right. So you don't want doubt to turn into fear. You don't want it to go that far. So when you feel that doubt trying to creep in there and interrupt your moment, that's what it's doing. You want to go back to the feeling that you're having about what that intuition is, that hit, that insight was. You want to, the way that you deal with the doubt is you go to the feeling, and it overrides the doubt. So the doubt has to go on standby. It's not gone, but it's taken a pause and it's sitting on the sidelines so that you can feel it. Because you can't do doubt and feeling at the same time. You can't do it. One
Right.
the other out. Okay. So you go right into the feeling and you go, oh, okay. Now, the hit I got, the feeling I got might be stronger than the actual message. Okay? And that's why it's so important. You've got to write down how it felt just as much as what the message. In fact, as you start writing down how it felt, the message will become clearer.
That kind of happened to us at the beginning of the year, and it's been the strongest intuition, and then the feeling afterwards was just so grateful. I mean, both my husband and I were like, thank God, thank the spirit guides, thank the protectors, because we could have gotten into a whole lot of trouble, and I don't know that I would have ever talked to him ever again. But we were in the market for a car, and we had been approved by USAA. I forget the amount, but our budget was, let's say, $30,000. $28,000. That was our budget. And we were looking for, we were looking online, blah, 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 blah. We'd been looking. And this car that was almost too good to be true came across. It was a 2017 2016, 2017 Yukon XL for like, I don't know, $18,000, which is unheard of because they go like for 40 and 50. And I was like, he said, look at this one. And I said, wow, what the heck's going on here? So we emailed the guy. He said his family, and he had been relocated to London. His family was all over there, already over there. And he was just trying to get the last loose ends tied up. He just needed it gone. He sent us the link for Edmunds, which they're like a car broker.
Right. I know who they are. Right. You know.
Okay. I go on the link. Everything looks legit. The only way they would accept payment was by way of wire transfer. Oh. Now, we had been approved by USAA. They could only pay by either cashier's check or ACH debit. So for 2 days, we're trying to get this worked out. USAA was great in that they said, okay, we'll convert the loan to a personal loan, whatever. This went on for like 2 days. My husband's like all in a frenzy because we're going to lose the car. I never even got excited about the car. To make a long story short, mind you, I had checked them out on, I Googled them and all that stuff, right? When he has USAA ready to do the wire transfer, at the moment he was about to say yes, he said, I'm going to have to call you back. And she said, sir, if you stop now, we have to do this all over again. He'd already been on the phone for like half an hour. He said, I have to call you right back. So I said, what happened? He said, just something stopped me. He says, I just got a really bad feeling. Wow, something's not right.
Yeah.
Now, when I had gone into Edmunds, I had used the link the guy provided. This time, I went in like another way. I went in directly instead of using his link. The first story was a scam. Scam that, it was the same scenario that we were in.
Yeah.
We would have wired, how much was it?
Well, it was actually like 20-some thousand.
Yeah, we would have wired 20-some thousand. The story on Edmunds' front page said that there were about 400 people that had been approached with this, and about 40 people had actually done it. And once you send that money, that's it.
Right.
Wow.
And we were, I can't tell you how grateful we were. Charlie was like, yeah, not just grateful. I mean, I don't know that I would have ever let him live it down because I joked that I joke that he's not the most computer literate person in the world, but I'm the one that went in through the link, and it looked good. And when I Googled them, the same link you went into, that the front page looked exactly like if you went in it was. Anyways, my point is that at that moment we were so grateful, and it had to be spirit guides that kicked in.
That's exactly right. Now, do you see what her feeling, her emotion, the one word she used over and over again was grateful. She was so grateful. Now, she wasn't real invested in this car anyway, thank God, all right? But your husband's the one that picked up on this, right?
Yeah, he was the one.
How did he feel? How did he feel?
Oh, no, I was thrilled that I caught it.
Yeah, and it was an instant knowing, wasn't it?
Yeah, that's the thing. When the lady said on the phone, "We're done. All I need is you to say verbally, send the money," is when my brain said, "Stop, stop."
That was great. That was awesome.
I'm just glad I listened because she.
Oh, man.
That's true. That's the part. It's like, I'm so glad he listened, because he's right. I never would have let him live that one down.
So Russ, it feels like that. It felt like that for you in the coffee shop, didn't it?
It did, yes.
It was an instant knowing. You guys just all of a sudden, boom, you got that. It's like a data dump.
It's true.
Yeah. And you just know it. The only thing that could possibly get in the way, when I was working that day today, and they came through and interrupted me, right? Oh, this isn't so convenient. Right. I just had to get over my fit for, like 15 seconds, and then I was back in the game, So
It's a great feeling.
It doesn't matter, how we do what we do, as long as we if we follow this and don't let all this other nonsense take you over, because Josie and her husband would have gotten in a mess financially with that.
Yeah.
And you would have wound up with a bad person in your life, Russ. And Ray at the parking lot, we never know what was lurking, and I worry,
waiting for me.
I actually worry about him, because it's not like he's a big guy, he can handle his own, but I don't want anything happening to him, And when you have two people, because we're two bad mamma jamma Leos, and you get us out there, hey, so I worry about that a little bit. And there may come a time that's not too far from now, that I go with him, and I get, I just get I move my priorities around. I count on my guidance to let me know that, okay? Some days when he goes out, I worry a little bit more. I'm going, maybe I should have gone with him. No, it's okay. But I can feel it, I can feel the edginess with people and driving, and, they're nervous and stuff. So.
Oh, yeah.
Anyway, it's.
Yeah, we went somewhere the other day, and we were, salsa dancing. We went salsa dancing.
I was going to ask you guys, when you guys go out, like how Linda is, like how you guys are, and how, like, what Spirit's saying to you, like when you're in close proximity to other people or other couples.
Oh, yeah, we get guidance all the time. We can feel who is, how to, keep our distance, that type of thing.
And I can feel who's a book reader. Because wherever we go, right?
Ray's on it. Ray is all over it.
I don't care where it is. I sell books everywhere. I go to the post office and I'm waiting in line to mail out books, and I'm selling books to the people in line. Every time I go out, sometimes I sell like half a dozen books.
He does.
Anyway, like Russ had this knowing show up in the coffee shop.
Right.
I had a knowing show up in the coffee shop one time. and
do you guys know where he's going with this?
Another quote?
No. Excited. The first time I saw Linda in the coffee shop. She didn't talk to me. I didn't know who it was. She just looked over and smiled, and then grabbed her coffee and ran. So my knowing that came over me was...
It was poor knowing.
It was pure knowing.
It was poor.
Poor knowing.
Poor knowing. Because what did you assume?
I assumed that you were a tourist.
Which was wrong.
Because I'd been in Sedona 4 years, never saw you. Because she never left her house. That's why.
Well,
was
I
always
did.
working.
No, I went ice skating. I just didn't do.
Yeah,
stuff
I didn't
you
go
did.
ice skating. She went ice skating. So anyway, I had this knowing that if I ever see her again, I'm going to propose to her right away so she doesn't get away. And that's exactly what happened.
Ray did. He was relentless. There was no escaping it.
That's one of my favorite parts of the book. That book there. Proposed to her within 15 minutes of meeting her.
Now that's knowing, right? That's like,
Oh, yeah.
I had suffered enough. I had already been single for 2 weeks.
Poor Ray.
You know what, you guys, Nicole, you know what it is? Guys don't do well. They really don't do well on their own.
That's right.
They don't. They are much better off with a woman. And the sooner Ray was still married, and
a minor inconvenience.
You guys know the story because you got guided, all right, and how it really worked out. But the longer they're single, the more
Fixing you have to do.
the more what?
Fixing.
Yeah.
The more fixing and renovating you have to do.
Yeah.
Renovations.
What happens is they actually, to the most part, they get more damaged as they're single longer than women do. I think women get more healed. I did, in my case. I was single for 6 years, and I needed every day of that, to get that over with, right? To really let all that go. And I still breathe that one out. So, but there's a reason I needed it. It was a lesson I understood it. And I didn't need to repeat it, or I would have remarried it in some form, and I didn't do that. So, but men don't do as well alone as women do in that process. So
it's funny that you say that, Linda, because just recently I've visited friends of mine that were guys that have been single for a long time. And like, if you look inside their house, it looks like they've never moved into their house and they've been there for years.
I know.
Or like it looks like a frat house, or like, you know what I mean? Like it's like they don't have like the regular things like paper towels, or like the regular things like guys. Sorry, gents, but like you guys need the regular maintenance of a woman in the house to keep the
balance.
Yes.
That's what it really is. So it's interesting how it all works out. But yeah, I'm so glad you guys got the message on that car. Oh my God. Oh my God. Now, when did that happen? What day was that?
That was, so it was in January, January of this year.
Wow.
And it was like, it's been the strongest evidence of God's interference.
Yeah. What you guys did not, you didn't need the lesson. You didn't need that lesson.
Probably. Well, yeah. I mean, it's just, I can't express how relieved and grateful.
Yeah.
We're like, wow, thank you.
The lesson there was more than the one of the divine intervention, but it was, especially when you're shopping for cars or big ticket items that you're emotionally involved with, is if it's too good to be true, it is.
Yep.
Yeah.
And you can't,
especially nowadays, you guys.
Well, we said that all the way through.
Yeah.
How are we getting this car for this amount of money?
Right.
Right. I mean, if I personally, I'm not a car fanatic. I don't have to have one certain type of car as another, but I wouldn't. I'm not interested in a car that's not at least 10 years old, and nobody's going to scam you or try to scam you on a car that's 10 years old.
Well, that's not true. That's totally not true.
No,
that's not true. Depending on the car, at 10 years
right.
old.
Yeah. Well,
you buy it from some.
It's a good thing he's got me on his side. I would see that. See how he.
You go through the obituaries in the retirement community, and you find
this is awful.
A perfect Buick for $2,000.
It's true. That part's true.
Yeah.
Yeah, that is true.
One owner, little old lady car. Those are the best ones.
Always serviced by the dealer. Looks showroom new.
That's
Got
right.
35,000 miles on it, and it's 12 years old.
I
I have that right now.
Yeah, it's true. We do
I have that
that.
car. My truck.
Oh, yeah, we have that car too.
My truck's a 1993 with
Yeah.
155,000 miles.
Oh yeah,
leave well enough alone.
yeah. Our car is what, 17 years old this year, and it's almost 80,000 miles.
Yeah, no, we're one of these people that sure, I would love to have a brand new car if the budget could afford it, but you buy a car that's 1 or 2 years old and you're going to get a lot better price than a brand new car. So we've always bought used cars, at least a couple of years old. And he knows a lot about cars, so yeah, as far as mechanically. So thank God we've never,
Well, his gut is good. What I mean, his gut, his listening, his what he feels and response. His response was right there.
Yeah,
and that's all it took.
He's one of these people that, like, sometimes I'll just stop and listen because he's, as you know, he's not like the happy-go-lucky one in the group. He's very observant. And afterwards he'll say, I did not like this person. There's something about this person. And I'll think to myself, really? I didn't get that. And sure enough, there will something that will go wrong or something that's not right about the people that he doesn't like.
That's where time is your friend. You let time be your friend. Eventually, if somebody's got the wrong intention, if you just give it enough time, you just breathe and let it be and just give it enough time, they'll show their colors. Yeah. So you just let time be your friend, and don't, there's a Chinese proverb, and the proverb goes like this: in any negotiation, the one who wants the deal most loses. Mm-hmm. Yeah. So that means that if you're emotionally invested in the deal, you're already an easy target, Yep. So just don't want it more than the other guy or the other person or whatever, or the situation calls for. Just pull back, like I always tell you guys. Breathe. Just get out of your own way and listen. That's it. And if you do nothing, if you hear nothing, if you get nothing, time is your friend. It will show itself. Yeah. There's no hurry. We don't have to be in a hurry. We're not going to miss something.
Right.
Yeah.
I wrote a note down when you were talking about doubt. Okay. And Linda says doubt, if you allow the doubt to fester, it becomes fear. But that doesn't mean the doubt is much different from questioning everything. Okay?
Right.
You should question everything.
Right.
Before it becomes doubt.
Before it gets confused with doubt.
Right.
Doubt comes from insecurity. Doubt is not something that you can respect. Let's put it that way. But you can respect questioning something.
Right.
Or taking your time, sitting back, breathing, writing it down. Do it for your decision making. Write it in your journal. Write it down and let it sit. Be patient. Don't be in a hurry. Don't push it. Your guides will come through. Your intuition you've got great intuition, all of you. Everyone has great intuition. If they just slow down and they don't want the deal more than the other guy, whatever it happens to be.
Can I tell you something, Linda?
Yeah.
I went ahead and did like the extra homework, the little videos or the reference or relatable things, and I actually did those. And there's a few things that really, really stuck out to me that I wrote down and then I journaled later. But it says your intuition is always telling you something. And I put be able to trust the message that you're getting. Don't let doubt pull you down, because doubt equals fear. Truth equals love.
Right.
That always resonated with me. And it's like, you can trust in your best friend because your best friend will always be there and they will never let you fall.
Right.
And it says doubting is just a waste of time, and doubting can lead to fear, and it will make you feel inadequate. And love and truth are the exact same. They're interchangeable.
That's right, Nicole.
Yeah, those were some things that I just wrote down that when I was listening to you that, that stuck with me.
Right. And Nicole, one thing we always want to do with this stuff, always, is keep it simple. You have kept it simple there. That is so basic and simple and useful all the time. As long as we don't complicate it, it works. But it's when we complicate it because we're fighting with it. We're arguing with it. We're wrestling with it. We're trying to negotiate with it because we won't accept it. All right? That's the only time we get in the way of it. But as long as you're not arguing with it, you don't want that thing so badly that you will not listen. Okay, I don't want to hear it. I don't want to hear it. Or somebody might say something like, I don't want to hear anything bad. Well, there's nothing bad about the fact that you guys, that Josie and her husband could have got scammed had he not listened to his gut, okay, to that instant knowing and respond. Okay, it's that simple. It's simple. And Nicole, that's simple what you're talking about and what I was talking about in that video. It's keeping it simple because once we have that, we go by that. That becomes our rule, our law. And we walk through our life and we know and we pay attention and we listen and we avoid this and we avoid that and we enhance and we embrace this and that. We can feel it, You trust this because you trust you.
I do have a question. I wrote down one question for you. And I said, so besides just, knowing our truth in that, I put down, when you have to make a big decision, let's say there's a future decision that you will have to make,
right.
Trusting which decision, and you have two different choices. You can either go one way or you can either go the other way. How can we, I feel like sometimes we get this push and pull, almost like sometimes it's pushing us one way and then sometimes it's pushing us the other. And it's like when you make those big decisions, how can, like you ask for or get the exact guidance that you need? Writing it down. I put that in there and I put, continue to write down every single day.
You have to, what you have to do, here's how I want you to think about it. You are two different people. You are your present moment and your future. Okay, those are two different people. Because by the time you get to your future, you are different. You've learned more, you know more, you've got more to go by. You're wiser. But right where you are, you've got to, the younger you, the one that still doesn't know. You're looking for the answers. You want to make sure that that future you is going to make the best decision possible, all right? The present you has to take the action of writing down what it is that you're pondering, what it is that you're anticipating out into the future. Write it in there. Just write it like you're writing to your guides. Always, when you're writing in your journal, you guys, you are writing to your guides because now they know they've got your attention. They know you're paying attention when you're doing this, okay? So write it in there. Don't worry about having the answer the minute you write it down. Don't get anxious because after all, this is you and your life that we're talking about here. Don't get in a hurry with that. Take the time. I have a saying where, let me see if I can rephrase this.
I'll write this down one too.
Be patient as you nurture yourself back into existence. Did you get that?
Be patient as you nurture yourself.
Be patient as you nurture yourself back into existence. That's important. So the time it takes to write it down.
Nurture yourself back into existence. That's important. So the time it takes to nurture yourself back into existence.
Wow, what's going on?
Somebody's listening on Facebook.
Okay. So do you see how there's no accidents, right? Why that replayed and replayed? God.
Obviously meant for me to remember that.
All of us, not just you, Nicole. You got everybody's attention too, right? Okay, that's how important everybody is, all right? So make sure that you take that time. You take that time by writing it down. And when you write it down, remember, you be patient with that self, because that's you we're talking about here. That's the reason you brought yourself here. You be patient with that as you do the work, okay? So write it down and then let yourself look back at it, and you will get this information way faster and more precise, way more precise than if you went looking for it out there, because it's not out there. It's right here.
I made another note about something you said, Nicole. Before, you were talking about you had a friend that you trusted and loved, right? Okay. Which came first? Now, these are the things that you don't want to confuse. You don't want to confuse the trust with love. Because when you have a friend that you can trust, you generally love them. But you can always love someone you trust, but you can't always trust someone you love. You may have had relationships in the past where you thought you loved them, they told you they loved you, but you found out you couldn't trust them. So it's the trust that ruins the love relationship, right? When it disappears.
Right, that's true.
So if you trust somebody, you can always love them.
Yeah, and I was actually referencing Linda's quote about the guides, about how we can always feel safe, trusting and knowing that they love us and that they're always there, and that they will never let us fall.
That is why when you write in here, Nicole, you write like you're talking to your guides, because they are with you, all right? They do know who you are, and they are they're the best advisors, friends, comrades, advisors, everybody that you could possibly ask for. And it's free. What? You know, and it's instant. I mean, when you need guidance, like Josie and her husband, they needed the guidance. Bam! It came right through to them instantly. Okay, saved them from a catastrophe. Russ, when he was in the coffee shop and he met that woman, and it felt pretty good. You know, he had a nice time that afternoon, and then he got, whoa! He felt the energy, you know, and he followed it. He listened to it, and he pulled back and saved himself a lot of trouble, you know. Yeah. And, you know, always take that breath, you guys. Treat yourself to that breath, because that brings you back. It brings you back. It clears up your head. You're no longer wanting things so much, you know? Yeah.
Wanting? You're attached to things.
Right.
I have a quote about being attached to things. How do you do this?
Now wait.
She's reading
Russ
my
was
mind.
going to say something. Russ
Okay, I'll hold off on my quote.
But we want to hear it.
Right?
Okay. Russ, go ahead.
Linda, some time ago when we first met, I told you I had been journaling for some time. Yeah. You asked me to go back and see if there were phrases in my journal that I did not remember writing in there or recording. And during about 6-8 months ago, when I was anticipating doing more international travel on my own, I had a lot of doubts and a lot of concerns about doing this on my own. And at that same time, I don't remember seeing this, but at that same month, I went back in my journal, and there was this statement in there. It said, "Yes, go on. You can. I am with you."
Oh, wow.
Oh my goodness.
Message. And I did. I went on, and I knew they were with me.
Oh,
Oh,
right.
yeah. Now you're going to Tibet, right?
No.
Yes, I am.
In
Yes, it's
September.
Yeah, yeah. Wow, Russ. You know, and see, now I want you, all of us, watch his emotion when he mentioned that. This is what the guidance feels like. It feels like
Truth.
it's so much love that they have for each and every one of us, you guys,
Yeah.
that it's undeniable. I mean, when you start to make this connection to your guides, like Russ is expressing, and thank you for sharing that, Russ. It's so heartwarming.
Truly. It truly is.
Yeah.
All of our eyes, and we all, you know, when we know what that heart connection is, that's what it is. It's a heart connection. And it's so powerful. When you build this heart connection and develop it and become one with it and no longer separate from it, when somebody comes up to you with the wrong intention, you instantly know it. Because you're coming from the best, highest possible place. All right?
I feel that.
You've nurtured it. You've developed it. It's one with you. All right. So that's another reason this is so important. You can't possibly doubt yourself. It's not possible to doubt yourself, right, Ross?
It's true.
Oh my God, you know.
Yeah.
But it's really, it opens your heart. Like, it's crazy how, you know, it's what it feels like, you guys. This heart connection and this connection to the guides. It's what it feels like when we go back home, when we're released from this world and we go back to the source, and the love is just explosive. All right.
Yeah.
It's explosive. It's not a place this is not where you want to come back to when you're gone. You do not. Anytime I hear about somebody saying, oh, I wanted to come back, then you weren't gone. All I can say is they were not there, because when you're there, it's so powerfully filled with love. It's so unconditional. It's so clear. It's so you. You're 100% now. Where in these bodies, you know that we don't bring much of our energy here. Our bodies couldn't handle it if we brought all of our energy with us that we really are in our native form, which is not a physical form. So we don't bring it all here. So when we're released from this world and we go back to the source, we're 100% again. So we feel amazingly fantastic. I mean, there's nothing. This is not where you'd want to come back to, this physical thick density that's so slow and you know, yeah. But we have to do what we came here to do. We came here to learn what we came here to learn, and it's appropriate, you know. And when we're done, we hope we got it done before we are released from this world. When we are released, and that when we get to the other side, we go, we did pretty good. That was pretty good, you know, instead of resisting it and fighting it and being afraid of what somebody would think of us or say about us, or, well, you know, all these things that mess up our lives, that keep us from living it.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, you know.
The guides always say two things are the same, but love and truth are the same thing.
Like Nicole was saying.
Same thing.
Right.
Love and truth.
Love and truth. So when you get to here's the point with that. Love is what I was talking about. On the other side, when we get where we're going, truth is one with love. It's the same thing. So what does that mean? Truth on the other side, everything's telepathic, everything. So nobody can lie. Lying doesn't work when we're back to the source. It can't work. You see, because telepathy, everyone knows who you are and what you're thinking and what you're about. You don't even use words there. It's just instant knowing. Right?
True.
So, truth and love.
Yeah.
You know,
True.
You see how that is? It's interesting.
Russ, I just want to thank you, because like you are like somebody who I'm just grateful that even though we don't know each other, that you've been so willing to share your life and your life story, and it really, I can like feel your love.
Nicole's a beautiful girl, isn't she?
She is beautiful.
I love you, Nicole.
I'm having a great life,
Awesome.
Nicole.
Oh my God. Oh,
Well,
cool.
Yeah.
You really are somebody who's wonderful, and I want to thank you for
You are.
sharing your heart with all of us.
You're most welcome.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Oh,
I have a wonderful life.
You do.
and you're a wonderful man, and that's what Nicole's saying here. And it's just so we appreciate it so much because it's what the world needs now, isn't it, Nicole?
Absolutely.
Yeah. It is.
And I just admire you for having that courage to do the things that you're doing, and I can't wait to hear about it. I can't wait to hear the stories, and I just look at you and I'm in awe of your ability just to share and be humble and to put yourself out there and to trust and to reach to your guides and journal. And I mean, I don't know if you have anybody in your life, but it's like, I want to know what those journals are. I wish I would have a chance to read some of those things because I think it would be the most beautiful thing.
You're
lovely. Thank you.
He started that, the story. He started that a year ago when his wife passed over, right, Nicole?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's
right after she passed, I started journaling and have been journaling ever since. And I used to write to her all the time. Now I include my guides in my writing in my journal.
Good.
That's good.
That's good.
That's real good.
Yeah.
Yeah, I agree with Nicole. Russ is an amazing man. He is. What's going on with Miss Bridget?
Not a lot.
Bridget just moved in her new apartment.
Did you buy any new furniture this week?
No, I'm kind of done with the furniture.
Oh, good.
See, the sofa's working out better than the sofa that, we switched.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, this one's working out better. Because it's...
So, Bridget, what have your guides told you this week? What intuition came through?
Well, I kind of just, go through my day noticing, just my little feelers out. So I guess I have to be careful of, whether it's my guides telling me, guiding me, or if it's me. But I'm taking another French class, and it's a short one. It's just 1 month, and it's paintings at the Louvre, and we just meet once a week and talk about. And last night was the last class for that one, and this lady brought in a book by Sister Wendy. Have you ever heard of Sister Wendy?
No.
Oh, she was a cloistered nun, and she studied art on her own. She was allowed to. She lives in a trailer next to the convent. She's written all these books, and she has all these videos. And I just found out that they're on YouTube. Before I tried to, find the DVDs at the library or wherever. They used to be shown on PBS. And she has a couple interviews with Charlie Rose, and anyway, she's really something. But
wow.
It just kind of, Well, I've been kind of thinking about, that tour business that we were talking about before, and how that could fit in with, how that could come about. And I've just, so anyway, there's more to it, but just that I found her books, and she's got a couple that I'm really interested in, so I'm going to follow that up.
Well, there you go. So you're like on your yellow brick road. You're following your yellow brick road as it takes you on your journey, right, Bridget? Are you writing this? Are you writing? Okay, go ahead.
Yeah, I wasn't writing too much while I was moving because it was so hectic.
Right.
But yes, I've been writing that. And then I've got over here on the other side reality, and so, finding a job, and not too thrilled about that.
It's amazing that we have two world travelers here, you and Russ.
Right.
Yeah, well, Russ, I think, is probably more of a world traveler, really, than I am.
Yeah, I think he is.
Know.
I don't know. She just went to what? You went to France and Germany for what? A month and a half, or
7 weeks.
7 weeks.
Yeah.
Wow.
That's pretty bold. By herself, Russ.
Yep, by herself.
Yeah. Another statement that came up when I was thumbing back through my journal after I had been traveling for a while and had been doing very well, surprisingly to myself. I found in my journal, it said, in my ability to endure, I see a strength I didn't know I had.
Yeah. That's good.
I know, Russ.
Very good.
How long ago did you write that?
That was about 6 months ago.
About 6 months ago. Yeah. Yeah.
See, that's why it's important to write things down, because you can go back years from now and you can go back and you see, and it brings back the memories, it brings back the feelings,
right?
And it brings back the pattern, because that's what you're looking for. By writing things down, you bring it into this world so you can examine it at arm's length and not just roll it around in your head.
Tell me how valuable that's turned out to be, where you could examine it like Ray's talking.
Oh, immensely valuable, because I had never done this before, traveled on my own, especially internationally. And I was surprised and pleased with myself. And then when this statement showed up, said, in my ability to endure, I see a strength I didn't know I had. And that meant a lot to me.
You know that when you wrote that you wrote that with your guides.
I assume that, yes.
Okay. They were coming through. You see how this writing goes down, you guys? When I say that the guides come through, and when you're writing in your journal, they infiltrate your writing, because they do. You won't see it. You didn't see it when you first wrote it down, did you, Russ? Nope.
No.
You won't see it until you write it down, close up your journal, keep writing, keep doing your due diligence every day. 15 minutes a day, write in your journal. 15 minutes a day. And you look back at it in a week from now, a month from now, 6 months ago, right, Russ? Yeah. And there it is. There's the message that Russ, 6 months later, Russ has actually performed on this. And reading it back 6 months ago, he can see it and go, well, that's done. Right?
Exactly.
Right.
Yes.
You see the progress. You see it. Yeah. But if you didn't write it down, you guys, you'd never see the progress or the hiccups. There's going to be sometimes hiccups in there. Like, Russ, let me use you one more time here. Where have the hiccups been? Where have you written down something where you didn't take advantage of it or take action on it or whatever?
When things happen to me as a result of my doing or outside doing?
Either one.
Either, it doesn't matter. It's something that stands out in your mind in the last year as a result of reflecting back on what you wrote. Okay?
Well, I got in quite a jam when I was in Barcelona. The airplane took off, and 2 hours into the flight, the pilot turned around, went back to Barcelona, dumped us out it was 2:00 in the morning. There was nobody there. We had our luggage, and I did not want to panic because I was trying to get home to my grandson's graduation, and I knew I could not do that now because the plane had to turn around. So I stayed in the airport 2, 3, 4 o'clock in the morning. I had a chance of taking a voucher for a hotel. I didn't want to leave the airport. I knew somebody would show up and I would get a ticket soon. And sure enough, there was a ticket office that opened from this airline at 5:30 in the morning. I didn't know what his function was. He was not issuing tickets. And I told him my problem. And I said, I need to get on a flight. And he said, well, I can't get you out of here for 3 days. And I said, I'm going to hang around. You let me know if you find something. And this was in my ability to endure all of this at 4 o'clock in the morning at this very vacant hotel airport. And about an hour later, he calls me over and he says, "I can get you out of here on the next flight." And I was so delighted.
Yeah,
I know.
Oh, wow.
Did you make it to your grandson's?
I did not make the graduation.
Make
No.
it. Now, here I want to ask. I want to take this one step further. Why do you think, in hindsight, okay? Why do you think you didn't make it to his graduation?
Physically, the plane for some reason, turned around and went back and did not proceed on to Oakland where it was supposed to go.
But
I can answer.
Okay, go ahead. I want you to understand the question, Nicole. Give me a minute. What we're really trying to get through is, do you, in hindsight, looking at the whole, how everything panned out, know why you were supposed to, since there's no accidents, miss your grandson's graduation?
Well, it forced me into that strength I didn't know I had.
There it is. Now, Nicole, is that what you were going to catch?
I was going to say, with every problem is an opportunity for us to see our own strengths.
Yeah.
And what that was proving to you was that you could endure, that you did have the strength. And even though you didn't make it there, you had the strength to see it out and make the best out of the opportunity that you were given to get there, to get home.
Very true, Nicole.
And you knew somewhere inside that you were going to get out of there if you hung around.
Right.
But I just did not know when or what or how.
Right.
At that time.
Right.
I would have missed that flight because I would have been at some of those all-night music clubs and dance clubs. That's some pretty good ones.
You wouldn't have suffered at all.
No, I wouldn't have suffered at all. What, we're going back to Barcelona? Wow, okay. So in Barcelona, did you see the cathedral that they've been building for the last 200 years?
Oh, I did.
Oh yeah, the Gaudi Museum.
I saw everything in that city. It's a wonderful city.
It really is. Really is a great city. And the Mies van der Rohe Museum.
Yes.
Yep.
Yeah.
Now, Bridget, have you been to Barcelona?
No, I haven't. I didn't know the Mies van der Rohe. There was a Mies van der Rohe.
Oh, see that?
Yeah.
You've got some more wandering and wandering to do there.
Wandering and wandering. Well, if you're ever going somewhere where you need to brush up on your French, Bridget's the one
She's
that
the one.
teach you.
Oh, yeah.
Okay, fair enough.
Like France, or where else do they speak French? Haiti. No, you're not going to go to Haiti.
I'm going to Geneva, Switzerland in October.
Ah, yeah.
Very nice.
Yeah.
You are a traveling man.
You bet, and I'm going to keep traveling.
That's it. You take
For
pictures
you.
and put them up on Facebook so we can all live vicariously through your travels.
Yeah, I just wrote your name down just so I could get you on Facebook because I can't wait to see your pictures.
I know. Are we connected to Russ?
Yeah,
Okay.
you're on Facebook, right?
Yeah, we're.
I'm not on Facebook. I don't
not on
do Facebook.
Oh, you have to start a travel blog.
A lot of travelers in Omaha here. I'm finding. Hearing of mostly retired people. They're always just coming back from a trip, or they're planning a trip.
Yeah.
Oh, it's a layover or a stop.
Well, no, there's a lot of people living there.
Oh, I see, right.
You know why they want to travel a lot? They want to get out of Omaha.
If you say that,
it's cold.
Working all their life.
It's not always cold there, Ray. It's humid some of the time.
It is humid. Anyway, I've been to Omaha once, I think, for business.
Yeah.
I've been about everywhere. I used to have over 1 million miles on American Airlines and over 100,000 on 6 other airlines.
God.
So.
Did you use them all up?
I gave them all away because that's the last thing I wanted to do is travel somewhere when I.
Oh yeah, that's true.
My free time. Gave it all to relatives and friends. So anyway, are we? Is it time for my quote yet?
Yes.
Okay.
Look how patient
I'm
he
lucky
was.
I can remember what I was.
Well, that's why you have notes, right?
You were talking about attachments, okay? How we get attached to something, and the more you're attached you are, the more you wanted it, like the car, okay?
Right,
It was
right.
such a great deal, and you got emotional about it. Okay, the quote is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, only 7 words. Attachments are the great fabricators of our illusions. Attachments are the great fabricators of our illusions.
So, Ray, how does that work? You need to complete the thought.
Well, everybody makes emotional decisions. They get attached to
Right.
the outcome
Right.
long before they should have.
Right. They jump in too fast.
Right. And then they'll do everything they want to get that, say the car or a new house or whatever. They'll start compromising.
Or a relationship.
They'll start compromising. And the next step after compromising is regrets.
Well, that
You
you
know,
just have to give them time to get you there, Ray.
yeah, like 20 years. 20 years, and then the regrets show up.
You don't want to do that. No. See, that's one thing you could write in your journal. I want experiences, but not lessons. I don't want lessons. I've had enough lessons. You know, I was with somebody one time, and he goes, I hope you're not another lesson.
Oh my goodness.
Wow. Oh
I
my
said, well,
gosh.
you know, the fact that you said it, I'm pretty sure I am. Put me on your lesson list.
Pretty sure you are. Yeah.
Insults of the spiritually enlightened.
Yeah.
I know. It was crazy, but he had he could feel it. He could feel that he was exactly what Ray was talking about. He was wanting it more than it was right for him. Okay, and that anytime you want something more than it's right for you, you know you're heading for a lesson.
Right.
That's got lesson written all over it. So watch out what you want. What you especially when you're really emotional about it. Ooh, get your journal out. Do your writing. Write it in here.
Right, how you're feeling.
It's much easier to pour it down on the pages so you can then, like Ray was saying, reflect back at it and look at it a day later, a week later, whatever later. But have it there. And to keep you from getting delusional. Illusions.
Yeah. The great fabricators of our illusions.
Of our illusions. So that's what draws us in. We just have to, again, if we just take and sit back and breathe and just really give yourself a break. Because this is you that you're nurturing back into existence. You.
Interesting, because today, if I can comment, so we had some errands to run with my daughter, and then we met the husband, and we had dinner, all that stuff. And during dinner, I was like, I don't know why I feel so anxious today. It's like I feel I'm forgetting something major. I've been hacking my brain. I'm not sure why. I just feel so anxious. And after dinner, they were paying and such, and I walked outside, and then I remembered, and I took a deep breath, and I said, guys, please clarify whatever you're trying to tell me, because I don't know what it is.
See, she took that moment. She took that moment for herself to do this. All right.
And so I don't know if it's because then we walked to the door and we immediately put this on, but that anxiety has been gone after I did that. Like, just please clarify and let this thing go after breathing. And it worked.
Right.
Anxiety kind of tiptoes around the doubt and the fear. Anxiety is when you worry about the future.
Right.
And depression is when you worry about your past.
Right.
So, that's why they say you got to live in the now. You got to live right in the middle, because that's really the only place that you're safe. Okay?
Right.
Now, and you keep stringing those moments, those now moments together, and that's what creates your future.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
But you're always in the now, because what time is it? It's now.
You're actually, one phrase that the guides used one time, they said, you're a hostage to the now.
Hostage to the now.
You're a hostage. You can't get out of it. It's something like in Guided. In the dream I had, the merry-go-round dream I came in with in this lifetime, I was hijacked by this dream. It wouldn't leave me alone. I couldn't get away from this dream. I tried to change it. I set the alarm to go off every hour to interrupt it so it wouldn't possibly happen again. I couldn't stand having this dream anymore. And there was no way. I was meant to, they had me, I had myself. This is a contract I came in with to see this through in my lifetime. And nobody, my guides, my higher self, my soul, me, my persona, Linda, here in this world, would not let me get away from fulfilling what that was. And that's doing this work. And there's just no way around it. We were working with somebody today in a coaching session, and she came to us, as soon as Guided came out, she got Guided and read it twice, right? And she said, we hadn't seen her in 2 years. Had her in a coaching session in a couple of years. And she was right back to where she started. She goes, when we first worked with her in a coaching session, she said, I have guides and spirits around me all the time, but I'm afraid, because she was brought up with a real strict religious background, and it's filled with fear around all that kind of stuff. So she goes, and now I could feel her energy was even more low this time. And she said, yeah, I'm still pushing it away. And I said, well, how's that working for you?
And then she says she has an 11-year-old daughter who sees spirits all the time and talks to them and tells her mother about it.
And is not afraid.
And is not afraid at all.
Because she wasn't raised with that strict religion, that fear thing. And so she now, she's finally just going, she's at the point where she's really sad. And now her heart is open, okay? And now she can be reached. And now she's ready to take the steps. So today she got My Guided Journey. She got it off the website. And she's going to start joining us. At least right now, she may not participate, but I'm pretty sure she's been watching us tonight and seeing how it feels to her, and so she can start to move in that direction and stop pushing it away. Okay. I mean, I was 35 years old before I stopped. I kept it to myself. I didn't push it away, but I didn't let anybody know about it. And I didn't really fully step into it until I was 35, and I started taking dream classes. And that's when I stepped into it. And the marriage I was in at the time, he said to me, he goes, you need to stop taking those dream classes. And I said, why? He said, because it's going to ruin our marriage. And I thought to myself, well, this isn't much of a marriage then. It's like telling me to take myself and put it into Pandora's box and shut it and pretend it never existed. That's me we're talking about here. So I couldn't do it. And neither should you guys. That's another reason, keeping a journal. I always wrote my dreams down. I always kept a journal since I was 6 or 7 years old. This is a lifesaver. This is your best friend. This will keep you sane, clear, focused. This will take you the life you intended to live before you got here, your travels while you're here. This will keep you on track. That's what this will do. That's pretty amazing. So how about that intuition, you guys, this week? We got a lot of intuition going here today.
We did.
A lot. If you guys were writing in your journal 15 minutes every day for the last week, if you were doing that, we would have more to share about what your intuition told you today, meaning over the last week. All right? We would have more.
Do you want us to share our personal stuff?
We definitely do. Yes, that's why we're here.
Oh, Okay. Well, I know it's kind of getting late, and I probably do have to get off soon just because it's Eastern time here, but
Then
I
you
will
better
share.
hurry up, Nicole.
I will. So this past week, I had my sister and her family, and she has 2 young kids, come into town. And so I live in Tampa, Florida, but my family lives over in Daytona Beach. My sister flew in from Boston with her kids. So every time that we're there, usually my younger brothers are there, and they're always complaining because I always feel like I'm the people behind the screen that help make the things happen, like dinner. If I'm the one who goes and gets the groceries, or I'm the one that has to go and kind of get everything prepared, but really no one gets to see that kind of stuff. So this past week I was really
underappreciated.
Well, then, my sister would yell at me, kind of get upset with me because I was being present there with them, because I would have to pick up my brothers and pick up this for the beach, or
Right.
go get this from the grocery store. So she really didn't get to see me. So she wanted me to be more physically present. So I was, kind of guided ahead of time, knowing and expecting what she was going to expect from me. So I was ahead of the getting the stuff together. And instead of doing a lot of the things that I would have typically done that could have waited longer, like I needed a bikini or something like that, I just kind of got and worked with whatever I needed to do just so that I could spend that extra time and to be present. Because, there's a lot of times through this past week that I noted that, that could have always waited till later. I could have dealt with that, but I couldn't take back those moments with my niece and my nephew. I couldn't have, remade that moment. And
So
they were like, yes.
You listened to that guidance, that, get it back, get your priorities, rearrange your priorities so that you could fit that in. Right.
Yes. And I was so thankful. I even said, I was like, these are the pearls of life. These are the things in life that make a life so valuable. These moments with your niece and your nephew and your whole family getting together. They're like the love, the glue that binds a family all up together, and that just keeps them so close.
Great,
and how precious that is, and how you can't put a price on that.
Yep. Well, you caught yourself.
That's neat, Nicole.
Yeah,
that's very nice.
You caught yourself on that deal. And here's the question. How did it make you feel? Always. This is what you always want to follow it up with, is how it made you feel. How did it make you feel, Nicole?
Great. And you know what? Afterwards, my sister actually said, thank you. And my mom was like, I want you to know that I noted that you were there. Like you made the effort. You were there. And not only that, you got all the late boys there.
That's great. That's great. So what did you learn about this for your life?
To prioritize. There are things that are always going to be there. There are always going to be work. There's always going to be the things that aren't necessarily valuable. Reevaluating the things that I have in my life, the priorities. As much as we say that we have family and love, or wherever we prioritize our relationships, how we actually, deal with those and how much time we put in the day towards those is different. I think we all want those things and to prioritize those things, but putting that into action is actually a lot different.
It sure is. Yeah, actually stepping into it. That means everything. Because once you take the action on what you know is right, what feels right, you take the action. You find yourself 6 months down the line, like with Russ, 6 months down the line, where he realizes how he's come so far so fast. You can't know what that is until you actually take the action and step into it and experience that, okay? That's what Russ realized. He looked back at it and it made him cry. It was so amazing how wise that information was, that he had it all along. But because of where he was at that time, you know, he was still a work in progress. He was still walking through that. And now he's 6 months down the line and he's like a new person. Right, Russ?
Right. A very new person. Thank you.
Yeah, a new person. So this is what gets us there. The life we intended to live before we got here. That's the steps.
Last week, Linda, I asked you to ask the guides about my daughter. I was unable to reach her and communicate with her. We were estranged with each other. And the guides came through you guys saying that she's going through an awful lot in her life right now and that I could not help her. So I accepted that and I backed off and gave it to my guides. I said, it's up to you guys. I can't do this on my own. I need you to reach out and help her. She called me today, and we're going to get together tomorrow for a picnic.
Amen. That is so awesome, Russ.
Oh, it is. It is.
And you know what you did here, Russ? You let her have the time that she needed. You reached out for what you know is present around you all the time, helping guide you, right?
Yeah. Yes.
And you left it alone. You stayed out of the way.
I had to, yeah.
And it came to you. Now, when it comes to you, you guys, it's yours. But when you chase it, it's not yours. It's never yours when you chase it. Russ could not have made her call. Russ could not have made her respond in a positive way. He could never have done that. He reached out to a force that was bigger than him and let them take it on.
And it worked.
Yes, it does work.
Amazing how it works.
Did you write it down in your journal? Did you write the stuff down in your journal? Good, Russ.
I did.
Okay.
Yeah.
Now, Russ has documentation of what happened. At some point, his daughter could mess up again. She could do that because we're humans, right? We don't mean it. We don't want to feel bad, but sometimes we do that and we fall off our path. He's already got that, what happened up to that point written down. He's got what happened after written down, and the beat goes on, okay? So as time goes by, he's got a point of reference to go back to and go, oh, I can review this. Oh, yeah. Okay, so you know what? She's going to come around. I know she's going to come around. It seems to be her pattern.
Right.
Pattern. You'll see the patterns. Otherwise, you'll never be able to see it. You'd only remember it out there with some kind of, resemblance to a memory. Kind of like, yeah, it happened like that, but I can't remember everything and I don't know. And yes, you do. You wrote it all down.
Yes.
Yeah.
And write everything after the picnic tomorrow, the next day, write everything down.
Write it in there. Write it in there.
Good point. Thank you. Yes.
Yeah, because the beat goes on, Russ. Your life, this is your life, all right? And it's worth paying attention to, Yeah. So this is how we use this journal, you guys, all right? So what are you guys doing for the 4th of July, all of you? Huh?
Going to watch fireworks.
Great.
Speaking of fireworks, the 4th of July is really not as much fun as it was when we were kids. Remember the real fireworks?
Yeah.
M80s and cherry bombs.
Do you still have both your hands?
Look at that. I still have all my fingers.
It looks like you guys already have the fireworks going off behind you.
Look at that. But we put that up for you guys.
That looks awesome.
That's very cute. That looks very nice.
I live in a small town, and I'm going to a small town parade tomorrow. And
that's good.
Yeah,
That's
going to have a parade. It's just about 3 blocks long, but it's all hometown stuff.
Yeah,
that's great, Russ.
And then a picnic afterwards.
Oh,
that's
yes,
good. That's
cool.
cool.
Right, with your daughter.
Yes.
Bridget,
What are you doing tomorrow, Bridget?
Well, no plans. I see that there are some fireworks already starting now out my window. I can see.
Oh, there you go. Well, you'll find something to do, Bridget. You'll get out there, huh?
I will.
Yeah, good, honey, good. Josie, what's going on with you guys tomorrow?
We're converting my son's room into the grandbaby's room.
Oh.
So we're ripping out carpet, putting in a new floor, painting.
Oh.
We've got 2 days because we don't have her tomorrow or Thursday, so we've got 2 days to do it.
To get it done.
So we're going to get that done.
Well, to have a little toast to the 4th of July. Fit it in.
We
Just
will.
Like Nicole was saying, get your priorities right, Josie.
There you go.
What are you? Wait. What are you guys doing?
What are
Yeah.
we doing?
Well, tomorrow
Yeah,
is what, Wednesday?
tomorrow's Wednesday.
We're probably solving our backup situation.
Yeah, we've got some, well, we're going to be doing some computer work a little bit. And we're going to have, I don't know what, we're not going to go out, are we?
No, it's going to be 112 tomorrow.
Yeah, it's really hot in Phoenix right now.
Whoa. Yeah,
Yeah.
108 today, 112 tomorrow, 115 the next day.
We're going to watch.
My goodness.
We'll watch some of the fireworks going on outside the perimeter of our place here.
Kids in the neighborhood will be blasting off fireworks out in the street.
Yeah, yeah.
I like your backdrop behind you, Linda.
Oh, thank you, Russ.
Yes,
Yeah.
I like that.
Yeah, it's fun. You know, we've got this thing with Zoom, and we're able to do this stuff, and it's a lot of fun. We're going to have more and more fun with this, you guys.
I thought
How do you do that? Is it a projection? How do you do that?
Now we're not going to give our secrets.
I painted that.
See, you did do it by hand. See, that all the lighting is perfect, and yeah, we've got some really fun stuff coming up for you guys. So,
oh, good.
That's awesome.
We move through it, you know. So let's close this up. What we're going to do? We haven't really talked with the guides. I mean, did we, Ray?
No,
not really today. But we're going to close this with a closing message from the guides, and I'm going to announce next week's first.
All right.
Tuesday, next week, July 10th. Watch or interact with us right here on Zoom. In Linda's weekly guided insights, you will receive the link to join, as well as the event I post on my Facebook page at Linda Deir Author. Talk to your guides, to us, and to the group, 6 p.m. Pacific, 9 p.m. Eastern. To be published next Tuesday morning in Linda's weekly guided insights. The guides will be talking about escaping a frantic life. Why are people living frantic lives? There are many reasons. It's mostly caused by being disconnected from their guidance and their true self. People are frantic emotionally. They are in fear, in denial, and in a state of worry. Worrying if they are possibly running out of time. So, Ray.
I'm not running out of time. I'm just getting warmed up.
So you guys, a frantic life. We know a lot of people living frantic lives. I mean,
we do.
We all live frantically at some point in time in our own life. Things throw us off our path, and we let things get a hold of us. We let things worry us. And I don't know, as far as...
That's when you make the tough decisions. I mean, that's when you step out of your comfort zone and you make the decisions that you normally wouldn't have made. If things were just going along swell.
Exactly the point.
Or at least people say, I can't wait for things to get back to normal. Well, what was that? Normal.
Yeah.
Normal wasn't all that good.
Even when normal felt more comfortable, it still wasn't perfect. So, you know, we're not stagnant. We're not in one spot. We're moving all the time. We're either moving forward or we're moving backward. You don't want to be going backward. You can't go back. Not really.
Yeah.
So frantic lives.
That's why the rear view mirror is so small. You're not going that way.
You're right.
The windshield's really big. You're going that way.
So it's about how do you avoid living a frantic life. When Russ was at the airport in Barcelona, for a moment, he was frantic. For a moment. But you got a hold of yourself pretty quickly, Russ. And
I do.
yeah.
I had help.
Yeah, and you let it go, and it worked out. 1 hour later, he had you on a flight.
Yes.
That's pretty amazing.
It's pretty amazing.
Yeah, so it's not, being frantic won't help you. Ray came home the other day.
There you go.
I'll share this with you guys. He came home, was yesterday.
Yesterday.
And I was in the shower, and I was working, and I ran in the shower, and he was gone. And he came home, and he couldn't find me. And he looked everywhere. He was really frantic.
I even walked in and looked in the bathroom to see if she was in the walk-in closet, and the doors were closed, and I didn't hear the shower at all, and I didn't see her in the shower.
And that's where I was. So that's what frantic will get you. It will fog you over so much that you can't see what's right in front of you.
I mean, it's all glass. It's an all-glass shower. You can see right into it. And I did not see her in there.
That's amazing. And I was in there, and the shower was going. So when we're frantic, it doesn't serve us any purpose at all. Russ decided to step out of that franticness. He felt it coming. He felt the franticness kicking in, but he pulled back and he went, nope. Right, Russ?
Right. Yeah.
And it worked out.
Worked out.
So Ray and I had a little talk, and I said, Ray, breathe when you feel that. And it's, being frantic will never help, right?
That's it.
Yeah, that's what it comes down to. So that's what we're going to talk about next week. Easier said than done sometimes, you guys. Yeah.
Okay.
Okay, and the guides are going to close this session with their closing message to you about what has your intuition told you today, and here they go.
You are always receiving new guidance. Do not be afraid of new thoughts and ideas, but be frightened of the old ones.
In other words, do you guys get what they just said? Do you see where that's going?
What of the old ones?
Be frightened. In other words, be very, very leery of the old ones, okay? Let it go. Nicole, what did you get from that?
I got that, if you keep doing the same thing of those old patterns, and you need to break that pattern. And you need to choose a different way.
That's right, because it'll just keep you stuck. Yeah, that's right. All right, you guys.
Okay, be careful tomorrow.
Be careful.
Thank you, guys.